career, about 700 and some wins, correct?
Yeah, it's over 750, but I honestly don't know. Honestly, it sounds kind of silly, but every season we don't keep track. I just say when the season's over, we'll add them up. And that's kind of how I see it now. When it's all done, we'll add them up and see how many it is. So,
First of all, why did you decide to retire?
a couple of reasons. 40 years doing this is a long time, and even a marathon has a finish line at some point in time. And a couple of things has made me think about this. A friend of mine, Ralph Hodge, is at Olivet Nazarene for a long time. We were contemporaries. I'm a little older than him. And he told me last summer, he says, "Coach, I'm gonna coach a couple more years. I've got season tickets to the Cardinals in St. Louis, and so I want to do some travel with my family and so forth." And he died in October, so he coached too long, and I don't want to do that. I'm 70 now, so I have another part-time job. Social Security comes anyway, and I still have good health, and I want to watch my grandkids be involved and spend some time with my wife. Coaching's terribly time-consuming beyond what most people have any idea. And even though you're there, sometimes you're not. Your mind is been captured by upcoming games and watching games and so forth. And the summer recruiting is now it's proliferated to the point that it's you can go to a game every weekend, all during the week, and it's just something I don't want to do anymore. John Wooden retired that way. He was playing in the semis of the national tournament, and he said by the time he left the press interview back to the locker room with his team, he said, "I don't want to do this anymore." And he told his players, he hadn't told his wife or AD or anybody. He said, I'm finished. And it's kind of how I am. I thoroughly enjoyed, I appreciated the Lord giving me the opportunity to coach here and work with young men, and that's really what it is. I'm not really a goal person, more of a purpose person, and my purpose has always been the young men. My wall's plastered with pictures of every team I've coached. That's been why I do what I do, to see what happens to them in terms of people will say, "What kind of season you going to have?" And honestly, they'll say, "Well, ask me in 20 years. I'll tell you." Because what happens to these young men is what's really important. And that's been my purpose from day one. The wins are kind of I don't know, actually they're a byproduct of doing things right. And that's what we've tried to do on the court and off the court. And so that's why I've retired. I think it's just time.
Sure.
No coach ever questions it. We all know it's time, and that's with me. I'm good with it. Not many of us get the privilege of going out the way I am. Usually, you get the boot at some point in time, and that hasn't happened, and I don't want the boot. So I'm great. I really am. My daughters, I have 4 daughters. They're disappointed because they like bringing their kids and watching Grandpa's games and things, and I understand that, but I'm okay. And another thing I think. I have had a number of assistants through time, and Scott Moore has been with me now for 7 years, and I really think if I've done my job right, that I could slip out the door and no one would even notice I was gone. And so I've tried hard to prepare him. I've given him consciously responsibilities and recruiting and other duties now, and I think that could happen. In fact, I think if you really do your job well, the person that follows you will do better. When your son beats you, you're act grumpy, but you're not. You're thinking, yes, he's learned, and that's kind of how it is. To have a protege follow you is just a thrill. I mean, coming back to my alma mater and now to pass that on to a protege, I can't think of a better way to do this. And I always wanted to have a smooth transition to the next coach and to the program. I respect the men and the program and the school to the degree that I want it to be a smooth transition. And so this is the time. I'm good with it, really.
Good. You look back on your career here as head coach. Mm-hmm. What stands out the most to you?
I was asked that once. Of course, winning the national title was a thrill, but, I think it's just the satisfaction of seeing young men go through the program, go through the college, and find a place in life where they're mature, they're serving, in their church and their family, and being successful in what they do. And some of those guys are the real trophies. The wins, they kind of fade away. And that's really been what I've tried to achieve.
What are you going to miss the most?
The guys. I think just the day-to-day grind and being with them. Challenges. Sometimes you're terribly disappointed, and because you work with people, and some days you go home and you say, what did I do today? You don't see anything. Construction, you can say, look, I built that wall today. Man, that's been great. Well, in our job in coaching and teaching in general, and I'm the last, I'm a relic here at Grace. I'm the last of the faculty coaches. It used to be that was the norm. You were a faculty member and you taught, and I've kept faculty status until the end, and I wanted to be that. It should be student athlete as well. And so I think that's been the real highlight, I think, is to see these young men move on. And it's also the most disappointing thing too. But
sure.
that's part of it. We get invested in people, and that's why I do what I do.
Are you sticking around close to Indiana, close to Warsaw?
Well, I grew up in Missouri, and my family's been here. We've been here long enough. This is a great place to raise our family. And the college has asked me to do some things for them. I don't know the title, the special adjunct assistant to the president and the missions and a whole bunch, and the athletic director. And I don't know what I'll be doing. My office will probably be a folding table and a folding chair or something, but I'm okay with that. I'll be glad if I can help. And part of it is I've been here long enough, like our director of admissions or fundraising said, your face is probably the most recognizable one in years, because I've been here, through 5 presidents and 6 presidents actually, and I don't know how many ADs, a lot of them. So I've been around long enough, and I can run into alumni that are my age and so forth, and it's just good to interact with them. And so I'll do some things like that. I think travel. I don't really want to have an office door that has my office hours. They're TBA, But I definitely want to stay involved in if I can. And I told Scott I want a seat right behind the. I said, I'm kidding. Coach Wooden sits on the other side of the gym, and that's me. When I'm done, it's his program, and I will be nothing but a fan. I'm not going to be a critic, and I'm not going to entertain any criticism. I'm just a fan and do anything that I can to help the program go forward, because it's just I'm passing it on. I'm really good with that.
Sure. One more question really for you. Did you ever, looking back now, and here we are 40-some years later,
Yeah.
Did you ever think you'd still be head coach standing here retiring right now 40 years later?
My wife and I have 51 years. We were just talking about that the other day, and no, I really didn't. When I first came here, I was a young coach. I'd coached 2 years in high school and coached in the Army, had done graduate work after Vietnam era. And when I took the job, I told her, I'll do my best for a couple of years, and if I have to, I'll go teach elementary, or I'll sell cars or something. I don't know, something different. And the Lord's blessed me with that, and we've been here ever since. So no, when I came here to go to school back in 1967, I never dreamed that I would spend this much time here. And this has become our home. And Winona Lake's a really unique, quaint community, and Warsaw is part of it, obviously. And great fan support, great base. Like I say, it's been a great place to raise my family. Good churches, good people here. And I'm a Hoosier now. My kids are all Hoosiers, and we're Hoosiers, so we're not going anywhere. And I never really thought about it. Honestly, it's just you do your best job every year, and you see the big G out there in the middle of the court. I honestly do this. I go sit on the big G when the season's over, and I think, do I want to do this again? And I did. And this year, I think it's time to move on. So I'm good. I really am. The Lord's been good to me, and this is a little side bit of our league. We're in the Crossroads League, extremely competitive league now with Scott. 7 of the coaches have been associated with Lancer basketball camp. Our camp, started back in 1968. And so I told the guys in the coaches meeting, Sunday yesterday, I said, I feel like your grandpa, because you guys have all been my kids. And so I'm going to enjoy watching you guys play too. Not when you're playing the Lancers, but I'm going to enjoy watching because, I've had the privilege of being associated with so many quality young men and people who are now coaches. So it's fun to see the game advance. And where else would you want to live if you're a basketball fan? Hoosier Land is the place to be. It's terrific. So, no, I never dreamed that would happen. So, but I'm very happy to be where we are. I'm fortunate to be able to walk. My verses. I was on the floor there. I want to finish well, and that's been my goal all along. And so, this is the finish line for the marathon, and I'll find another race, but it won't be another marathon. So, I'm very happy to be here and thanks for coming and covering it.